This idea came to me in a dream. This video is not suitable for children, by the way. So what's gonna happen is this. I'm going to take a look at the tier list and I'm going to organize them by not problematic, problematic, very problematic, and the least problematic of all, didn't watch. Because nothing is less problematic than not saying anything. First movie is Up. Is Up problematic? I don't think so. I can't really remember anything problematic about it. I don't understand how the old guy survived that much, but I don't think there's anything problematic there. Maybe he just has good genes. So is Toy Story problematic? I do believe that Toy Story is problematic, and I'm going to tell you why. You see, Toy Story kind of has this idea that there is a right way to play with toys, that you should treat these objects that you bought like people, and forget that they are just objects made from labor to your consumption, and instead they have an intrinsic value in and of itself, as if they were alive beings. It's problematic. Look up Karl Marx and look up commodity fetishization. It's not good. It's not good at all. Monsters Inc. Remember that Cyanide and Happiness comic that was like, oh, do you want to watch Monsters Inc? No, I'm scared of that. Of what? Monsters? No. Corporations. Honestly, not problematic. I do believe that it portrays the greed of the capitalist system very well, and I do like the detail that children are not radioactive and laughter is apparently a better source of energy, but it kind of implies that they ignore that the company hit this, so there would be an energy scarcity crisis. Or this is something that I just made up in my head, I don't know. Finding Nemo, is it problematic? That turtle definitely smoked weed. It's problematic. Toy Story 2, it doesn't have this fetishizing thing. In fact, it's the toy that needs to choose, oh, am I going to be with my master? I'm going to be in a museum. I don't think that there's any kind of capitalist stuff at play, so I'm going to say not problematic. Cars. Is Cars problematic? Yes. Why? Because I hate cars. I don't know how to drive. I only use public transportation. And cars are the bane of humanity. They are super polluting, and the fact that we have designed our cities all around cars is completely awful. If this movie was called Subways, I would enjoy it very much because I do love public transportation. Oh look, there's public transportation in this game, I love it already. But this movie is called Cars, and there's a lot of pollution, and in Cars too, it's canon that the pollution is something that affects the planet. They talked about it, it's canon, so I gotta say it's problematic, very problematic. Wall-E, is it problematic? I think that it is. I think that it is problematic, and I feel like they have this image of humanity that's like, oh, they're all fat, sitting around in chairs, not doing anything with their lives, but I don't really think that's what would happen with humanity. Apparently they still generate a bunch of trash in the ship, but they have infinite resources, so there's nothing really wrong with that, really. That part of the humans being the spaceship just feels a little bit boomer comic, you know. Oh my god, I didn't know we had a pool. Problematic, problematic. Turning Red, is it problematic? Yes. You know why. Bugs Life, is it problematic? It is very problematic, and I'm gonna tell you why. Bugs Life apparently was made by someone that got bullied in high school. They decided, yeah, you know what? I'm going to make a movie in which there's this genius misunderstood, and he ends up saving everyone in spite of everyone basically hating him and not valuing him, and it just feels kind of pathetic. Especially because it's a movie that feels like it has two stories. First, there's the story of the entire cricket stuff, the circus, and then there's the stuff with the scientists, you know, with Flick. And they two feel incompatible with each other because the Flick stuff is not really in light of all the oppression. It feels like they kind of let that slide for a little bit. Like, you watch the movie and it's very sunny, it's very fun, and the ants are just having a good time collecting food, and the queen is like just lying around with someone to fend them. It's not, chicken run that starts with the chicken fucking dying. So in that perspective, reminding that the ants are totally oppressed and are starving, Flick feels very selfish. He literally destroys the entire food source of the colony, and he crushes the princess, and he's just not careful at all. And considering that this is apparently a society that's low on resources, it's not a very good look. For perspective, I think that Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs did go into this subject and did it much better, because you have the scientist that is intelligent and wants to improve the town that he lives in. The problem is that he is sometimes very thoughtless, and this is portrayed as a defect that he needs to get over with. And the anger of the townspeople at him is very justified. It feels justified, and he puts the responsibility on him to make it better. The town doesn't own gratefulness to the guy. The guy has to earn it, and he has a chance of stopping the experiment, but he doesn't because he's too high on the love and acceptance. So the disasters are a consequence of him, and he learns his lesson. So yes, I do believe that Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs is better than this movie. No, also this movie has a monarchy, and not only do I hate monarchies, but I think it's kind of weird because you have all these ants going like, yeah man, we can decide our own fate, nobody can oppress us, but they like have an absolute monarchy apparently. Yeah, that's gonna be a little awkward in a few years. Also, Flick apparently invents the machine from the Lorax that deforests the entire world. They're going to deforest the entire island, they're going to be without food very, very soon. It's very problematic, this movie. Brave. Is it problematic? Yes, I hate monarchies. It just, the entire movie is about going, oh my god, I'm a princess. I live in a literal castle. I can't believe that people expect me to have some kind of diplomacy skill, learn lessons. And I also turn my mom into a bear, but like I'm going to be really bitchy about the entire movie. It's awful. I hate it. Inside Out is not problematic, and I think that this is a bad thing actually. I wish it were more problematic. They decided to make a movie studying the human mind, but they decided to pick the most boring person possible to have that mind. Why they can pick, I don't know, a soldier that was traumatized by war? Why can't they pick, I don't know, an adult that actually has responsibilities and actually makes choices in his life? Do you remember the Rick and Morty episode that they entered the teacher's dreams and there's like a fucking orgy there? That was interesting, that was fun. Laura, are you saying that you want Pixar to animate an orgy? Yes, The Incredibles, I'm gonna put is not problematic. I'm not going to go into a lot because I do want to make a video about it, because a lot of people say that The Incredibles is Randian discourse, from Ayn Rand, and it's not true. Like, a bunch of people think that The Incredibles is portraying superheroes as being superior to people, to normal people. But the thing is that the superheroes in this movie are actually coded as disabled. And Syndrome is not a communist hero that wants to spread superpowers to the entire population. He's a capitalist asshole. In spite of him being completely capable of being a radiant hero, being a kid that wasn't really special, but pull him up by his bootstraps, he decides to take the easy route and start fucking murdering everybody so that he can manufacture a robot invasion and he can manufacture himself as a superhero. In fact, I would argue that this movie argues the opposite of Randian philosophy, so not problematic. Monsters University! I'm gonna say that's not problematic. I like the lesson. Sometimes you just can't do a job, but that doesn't mean that you can have like a full satisfying life. I like that lesson. I just feel weird because in the Monsters Inc. original, it was very capitalist, down to earth. The scabbers were blue collars that had to work within the system, but now they're apparently kind of celebrities. They have little cars that you can trade. To me, it feels like having a World Cup album filled with accountants. I don't like that they erased this part of the lore of Monsters Inc., But overall, gotta say that's not really problematic. It's just a matter of taste. The Good Dinosaur! I'm not gonna put it in watch because I definitely watched this movie. I just don't remember anything that happened. I'm going to put this in problematic because one thing that I remember is that there are some pterodactyls that hunt animals and that's bad. But there's also dinosaurs that herd cattle and they're not portrayed villainously. So you have a little bit of the discourse. Who is sentient? Who is not sentient? Who is okay to eat? Who isn't? And also, that kid's a furry. Keeps barking all around, he keeps arfing, he's a furry. He's just doing roleplay the entire movie. Disgusting. Toy Story 3 is very problematic because Toy Story 1 was already problematic with their fetishization, and Toy Story 3 takes that to the next level, baby. They're just like, oh yeah, if you're a baby and you want to play with toys and you don't know what you're doing, it's bad. You need to play properly with your toys because they're people. Oh, and also if you give your toys to someone, you tell them how to play with the toys. Don't let them use their childish imagination. Just tell them the basic story that the capitalist propaganda told you when they planted the idea in you to buy the toys. I absolutely refuse to comply with this blatant capitalist propaganda. I use my labor to generate value and to generate money, to buy my property. I will do whatever I want. If I want to, I'm going to take my doll, put it in a jar and fill it with Cars 2. Cars 2 is so good. I don't understand why people hate it so much. Like, is it stupid? Yes, but it is very fun. If you go and ask me, hey, do you want to watch a PIXAR movie about the most boring child to ever exist, just going through some shenanigans? Or do you want to watch a badass car spy movie with guns? Obviously the car spy movie with guns. Cars 2 is great and I will die protecting its vision. That being said, it is very problematic. There is the thing from the first movie about cars being very polluting. But it actually goes a little further away with that because they create ethanol, which is a fuel that's made from renewable sources, but apparently it hurts cars. And when I started watching this movie, I was like, is this movie anti-vax? Because apparently in the United States, vaccines are political position. Depending on your political position on alternative energies, because apparently that's a political issue you can have opinions about. You vax your children or not? Yes, the United States is very stupid. It turns out that Cars 2 is not anti-vax. Apparently it supports alternative fuels, but they kind of want to criticize the petrol industry without actually criticizing it. Like they wove this entire plot. Oh, because we faked an alternative fuel, which is not something that happens in real life, and it feels like they want to have their cake and eat it too. If you want to criticize the oil industry, criticize it for stuff that actually happens. Don't create some stupid bullshit and to try to make us think that you care. And there's also another issue that is very uncomfortable because cars are basically people. So, defective cars are disabled people? Are car parts organs? I think so. There's like this entire black market of parts you can visit. The villains are these disabled cars that can't get enough organs to survive, and they rely on medical assistance. And it's bad that they want more respect. Have you ever watched Robots? I'm not going crazy. Watch Robots. They talk about this exact same thing. Also, there's like a thing that they say, oh, is Popemobile Catholic? Does Popemobile have to be Catholic? I actually had this discussion with a friend. I don't believe that the Pope is a Popemobile because you being able to manufacture the leader of a religion, it feels way too complicated for me, way too many implications. I do believe that the Pope car is chosen amongst a council of cars, but you can manufacture someone to be in a specific purpose for the church. I mean, it's fine. He just has a job that he's good at. But can you force that car to be religious? What if the Pope Mobile decides to become Muslim? Is he going to lose his job? The car's lore is too big, too complicated for my small monkey brain to understand. But the implications are there, and they're bad. Probably. So, is it problematic? It is problematic. I don't like the way they treat the accountant. You know, the guy who needs to count souls and he goes after the guy because he cheated death. I don't like it because the movie tries to tell us that life is precious and death is a process we all need to go through. But the guy who actually makes sure that the process happens is completely villainized. No one treats him with respect. Everybody mocks him. And then they mess up with his stuff to make the main character live again and just cheat death because they are cowards that can't kill the guy. My headcanon is that the accountant became the enemy of Final Destination. That he's just saw these teenagers surviving that. It's like, no, you don't! They start killing everyone.
You're not supposed to be here. You were supposed to die on that bridge. The lucky few survive the disaster. And then one by one, death comes for them all.
Thought you could cheat the universe. Well, you thought wrong. I'm the accountant, and I'm here to bring you...
That's real. That is canon. In my heart. Toy Story 4, didn't watch, I don't care. Cars 3, didn't watch, I don't care. Because, you know, I knew there was going to be fun spy shit, so I was not interested. Luca is not problematic, and I wish it were, man. I wish it were more problematic, because this movie is so boring. It's amazing how far PIXAR has fallen. They need to lazily rehash their own movies. Like, you have this movie that's this Little Mermaid-esque. Oh, because I want to visit the humans, but my father won't let me, because it's just dangerous. But I want to go anyway, but I need to keep it secret, I'm a mermaid. Why don't you take this movie and make this boring kids that want to have another life that their parents don't want to have? Why don't you tell the story instead from the perspective of the parents? You know, because there's probably a reason why they don't want the kid to, you know, go to land. Why is that? Did the humans murder someone? And the ending, it feels unrealistic that everyone's just completely fine with them being sea monsters. Instead, it feels more mature to tell the moral story that the world is dangerous, but you can deal with that because it's wonderful at the same time. It's full of adventures. Yeah, you could make this movie and then you could call it Finding Nemo. The Incredibles 2, is it problematic? I don't know, man. I don't know, because, yeah, the villain doesn't want heroes to come back because she thinks that the heroes are taking on way too much responsibility for the citizens' good and they won't call the police, just the superheroes. But I don't understand the ideological opposition between calling the police and calling the superheroes. To me, it's the same thing. It's still asking for assistance. And the heroes, they weren't actually existing. They weren't working. The villain makes the superheroes more popular to disappoint the audience. It's the same plane from Cars 2. They reused the plane from Cars 2. Anyway, I'm going to put not problematic because I can't really find anything problematic in it. It's just confusing. I don't understand. Ratatouille, very problematic. This movie is much more random than any of the Incredibles movies. Because they have this entire thing that they say, oh, rats shouldn't steal. You know, rats shouldn't steal from people. Like, what the fuck are rats supposed to do? Supposed to get a job and earn money to buy food at the store? They're rats. They get killed inside. And yet the movie pretends it's a non-issue. And it's like, well, isn't it great that this rat pulled himself from the bootstraps, came from the sewer, and he was able to become a chef? it feels weird. It feels way too capitalist, way too, oh, because everyone can cook. Let's ignore the material realities of oppression. This Brad can cook. Isn't it great that he isn't a welfare queen stealing money? Lightyear didn't watch. I actually wanted to because I was excited about a PIXAR movie that starred an adult instead of a boring child. But I actually saw this tweet that said that Buzz Lightyear should have killed himself. And I don't want any context for that. Finding Dory, is it problematic? Very problematic. This movie is one of the most problematic movies I've ever seen in my life. And this isn't a joke. You see, the thing about this movie is that it's about disabilities. It portrays a lot of issues with disabilities, but it insists that we must treat every disability exactly the same. Everyone should be like Dory, everyone should act like Dory. And if you can't, that's probably because you're not trying hard enough. There's this beluga that can't do a thing, but apparently he was just being lazy, he wasn't trying hard enough. If you, as a disabled person, you find inspiration in Dory, that's fine. That is completely fine. The problem is that not everyone is you, and not everyone is Dory, and insisting that every single disabled person should just put their faith at random and just be like Dory is so fucked up. There's this scene where the octopus wants to go to another aquarium and live his life, and Dory goes like, well, I never wanted to go to an aquarium. Like, if I were that octopus, I would slap that bitch with my 8 arms and say, who are you? I don't know you, you don't know me. What makes you think that you know better about my life than myself? Honestly, fucking disgusting movie, I can't believe it. Coco, is it problematic? Yes. I don't know if I'm the only person that remember the whole thing about Disney trying to copyright Dia de los Muertos. Problematic, guys, don't do that. Onwards, is it problematic? Yes, because there's this thing with this cop that's apparently a lesbian, but he got censored. Like, I live in Brazil and I watched it on Amazon Prime. And the fact that it got censored in my country is so funny because in my country it's actually not only legal to be gay, but gay marriage is approved, it's in law, you can get gay married. And the fact that it got censored in my country that has gay marriage allowed, it shows how much PIXAR are cowards, really. And there's this whole thing with the cop. Here's the thing. All cops are bastards. ACAB, I believe that with my whole heart. And there's this thing about this cop pursuing this car. And I'm like, dude, don't you have a job? Don't you have anything better to do? Shouldn't you be helping someone? Why are you pursuing this car? Like, they see that the kid's dad is there and it's like, oh wow, there must be something wrong. I'm like, why would it be wrong, man? You just saw the dad. Why is it any of your business? By the way, why is it any of their business if the kid is with the older brother? The older brother is apparently aged, right? I don't understand that they kind of fucked up because they didn't tell their mother for some reason, but like, it's not breaking the law. There's like a bunch of cop cars pursuing them, like, what a waste of taxes and resources, Jesus. Also, this movie has the entire looted thing, be like, oh, because technology replaced magic, no one does magic anymore, and I don't understand what the fuck is up with that. So this is the tier list, this is what I created with my mind. I am completely right about everything, you cannot debate me. And see you in the next video.